if health and fitness professionals could start with what's going on up here and in here, that is going to be everything you need to write the best program for behavior change. And then you just sprinkle in, here's your workout, here's your nutrition, here are healthy habits, here's, more of this, less of that kind of thing. Start with behavior change, start with helping people connect the head and the heart, and you're going to have so much more adherence, probably a lot less stress in your business too.
So you have a passion for fitness and the desire to start your own business, but launching a massively successful fitness business is extremely complex. The systems, operations, hiring, firing, coaching, sales, and marketing are critical to success. Where do you even start? This show will give you the answers. Here is Bedros Keuilian and Bryce Henson, your hosts of the Fitness Franchise Podcast, a show dedicated to helping fitness entrepreneurs launch and grow successful gyms.
Welcome back, friends, to another incredible episode of the Fitness Franchise Podcast. And before we get to today's guest, I want to give you a friendly reminder to give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and write us an awesome review on iTunes. That way we can keep producing this content for you for free. So now today's guest, who's a dear friend of mine from Los Angeles, California. He's an Army veteran, has his bachelor's and master's degree in science, who's also the host of the Ever Forward podcast radio show, who is going to give you a ton of insight and specifically how to tell you how to grow your business, grow your brand through personal development. Chase Chewning, welcome to the show, my friend.
Bryce, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Dude, super excited after I was on your podcast a few months ago. Definitely been looking forward to this. So we got a lot of ground to cover, but before we do, if you'd be so kind, tell the audience the backstory.
Yeah, so my name is Chase, and kind of depending on the day, I guess I'll go through a different backstory, but the full, concise version is grew up this very kind of lower middle class kid, loved life, couldn't complain, grew up in the country, left home to kind of follow my father and family's footsteps of military service. Wasn't in the cards for me, which I'm sure we'll get into. Suffered some career-ending injuries that ultimately became my catalyst for wanting to really understand the human experience, the human body, the human potential, and fell in love with it after studying it and wound up being in the health and fitness wellness business for quite some time for other people before kind of doing my own thing and scratching that entrepreneurial itch. And now here we are.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your service. I know you're an Army vet. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Active duty, 6 years.
Cool. Thank you for that. If you could just share, like, maybe what some of your experience, or maybe like one or two takeaways or learning experiences from that. And I'm sure there's a thread of how that benefited you in your business career. So we'd love to hear about that.
Definitely, I would say probably one of the most obvious answers I think people in the military will say is discipline. Discipline. But in ways that I always felt I was a pretty disciplined kid growing up. And I say kid because I was technically 17 when I enlisted. I grew up pretty disciplined, but when you have discipline, it literally makes up every waking moment of your day, from when you wake up, where you wake up, how you wake up, the exact protocols you follow afterwards before you go on to the next task. Every little micro task that makes up your entire day, your mission, your job, there's discipline and protocol. I brought that with me in so many facets of my life that I'll catch myself kind of like back in soldier mode in little tasks. And so I think discipline for sure has brought immense value to my life. But a lot of other life experiences that the military brings, camaraderie, travel, expanding your mind, just seeing what's possible.
Where
in
were
the
you
world.
stationed at?
I was a lot of places over the United States. Started off down in Missouri. I was up in Northern California, a couple places in Texas. My TDYs took me over to Germany. I did some things in Eastern Europe. I was in the military intelligence community, so I could tell you more about have to kill you kind of stuff.
Well, we won't go there then.
Still haven't ditched the camo, apparently.
Yeah, there you go. Good stuff. Well, I know you mentioned also going through that experience. You had, I believe, a hip injury. So
yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, to kind of like unpack that.
Yeah, so I was actually wanting to kind of scratch a different kind of itch as a soldier. For about 4.5 years, I've been doing what I enlisted to do. I was actually a Russian linguist. I was an intelligence specialist.
You speak Russian?
Yeah, Yeshogov.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you pick that up?
They taught me. I didn't speak a lick of it going in. Honestly, I had to repeat summer high school Spanish. So I don't know what compelled me to think I could actually serve our country as a linguist. But they dangled a $20,000 enlistment bonus, a bunch of college benefits, and I was like, sign me up.
I'm going to learn Russian.
for every day for about a year, I went to the Military Language Academy up in Monterey, and nothing but Russian day one for an entire year. Just total immersion language training. And it's the equivalent of about a 4-year program. So I walked out of that fully fluent in Russian.
Can you read and write?
I can read and write. My writing's gotten a little bit iffy these days, but I can still read fluently. I can speak very well. A little rusty here and there. But,
Sure.
Actually, my first tattoo on my leg was a Russian tattoo. But yeah, so I had a lot of fun with that. But, this was during the height of Operation Iraqi Freedom and during Freedom. I was in 03 to 09, and I just wanted to do something else with my military service. Wanted to really kind of flex those trainings and flex those skills that, we were all taught. Every week we had these warrior tasks and drills just to be ready. And so I was putting myself on volunteer lists to be deployed, to get out of this job and to go, be the guy over there kind of thing. And it was looking promising. Long story short, kind of fell through because I wasn't in the right rank. I wasn't high enough. I wasn't promoted enough.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, duly noted. I'll work. I'll get promoted. Worked my way up the ranks. Was doing everything I could to get back onto a deployment option. And I was doing some war game training. And we were only out in the field for maybe a few days. And I was leading an ambush basically on the opposing force. We call them the OP4, the fake enemy.
Okay.
And so my team were leading the assault, and in that kind of just immediate movement attack, honestly, a lot of what happened, I kind of blacked out. I wound up really suffering a lot of trauma to my hips, tore my left hamstring, and the lower part of my back, my L4, L5 vertebrae kind of like went this way, the rest of my spine went that way. So just major immediate trauma that ultimately led to both of my femurs needing to be completely reconstructed. Ooh. So I was yanked out of that training. I was yanked out of any opportunity to be deployed, and I became a patient for the next year and a half. I had one leg cut open, femur removed, reconstructed. I've got two pins in each hip. So I went through rehabilitation process, had to learn how to walk again. Got to a point to where I could, stand up and load bear fully on my own, and they would go in and do the other side. So for about a year and a half, I had no mission, no job, really no purpose except to be a patient, recover, rehabilitate.
How hard was that?
It sucked. It really did physically. But like I was saying earlier, that injury really became my catalyst for what is this body capable of? And I had nothing but time on my hands. Like I said, I was in the hospital, I was at home, I was bedridden, I was in pool therapy, I was in rehab. That was it.
For about a year and a half.
For about 15, almost 18 months.
Okay.
And so, I was like, let me try to control what I can control. So I began to study nutrition, sleep, wellness, all these things that I could focus on to make sure that I was doing my portion, aside from the rehabilitation, to just keep my body as best, well maintained as I could and prepare myself for when I got back to real life. Well, the military said that real life wasn't an option for me anymore, so they actually medically retired me. I'll never forget, I signed out my last day of service with a wheelchair on the roof of my SUV and signed out and drove from Texas back home to Virginia to kind of start my life over again. And that's when I went back to school to study for exercise science.
Yeah, so let's talk about that because, one of your big kind of accolades is being a health coach, very successful at that. I know you have your bachelor's, actually your master's in science. So let's unpack that and really not only going through the education, but how did that really help you catapult your health coaching business?
It was really the foundation for everything. Because like I said, I got out of the military, I drove home, and about 3 weeks later, I was enrolled in school. And I knew that if I took that downtime, because I could have. I was medically retired, so I was given all the retirement benefits. I was getting a paycheck. I was getting health care. I was getting education benefits. I was getting all these other benefits that were unique to that kind of separation. And I don't know. I wish I could say I had a very clear answer as to I'm not going to rest on my laurels. I'm not going to do all of this. But because I had so much downtime as a patient the last year or so I was in, I had already kind of really realized what was possible of if I change my eating habits, if I change this, if I change, I can't work out like that anymore, but I can do this. And it was so addictive. It was those newbie gains, but much more mental. And so about 3 weeks went down, and then I enrolled in school at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. they had a great exercise science program, which was pretty funny looking back because I actually was still on a cane when I started college.
Interesting.
I was on a cane going to campus to have my mom help me sign up for classes, do a campus tour, all
And
that
are
stuff.
you about 25 because you went to military first?
I was just turned 24 this time.
Okay.
Yeah. So the old man on campus a little bit, but still
And had a
very
cane, too.
exactly. You know, everybody else was there with their parents because they were 17 and 18 moving into campus.
Right.
I was transitioning my entire life, and so I did that. And about halfway through, I had to go through a really intense internship experience. I was about 300 hours, and then the next semester was another 300 hours. So I got to really live and work in the health and fitness world. And I realized I actually not only really like learning about the human body for myself because I'm getting stronger, I'm walking again, I'm back in the gym, I'm doing a lot of things that A, I didn't think were possible at all, but B, I was told that I probably never would be able to do again. And so it was kind of like sticking it to the man a little bit. But then I realized that, oh, you can do this as a job. And so in that experience, I completely changed my trajectory professionally. You know, I had a lot of options from the military still. I still had the highest security clearance. A lot of my buddies that were getting out were transitioning, going to work for, NSA, FBI, using all those really unique and valuable skill sets. I decided to go take a $40,000 a year job as a health coach. And that really
Working for yourself, or
no. This time I had started off with I was like a glorified part-time person with this like health wellness contracting company. I wore a lot of different hats. We did health coaching, we did biometric scans, we did a lot of like random things in the health, fitness, wellness world. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
But my main thing was I oversaw all the annual field training for the local fire department. And so I would watch all the firemen and firewomen go through this training protocol in order for them to maintain their firefighter status. And then I would provide notes, I would give training, I would go to all the firehouses throughout the year and just say, hey, here's what I saw, here's areas for sustainment, areas for improvement kind of thing. And that kind of engagement, the one-on-one stuff I really liked. I love just really understanding why maybe something was so easy for you, what was difficult for you. It was like that humanization aspect, the human connection. Then I kind of found coaching after that. I found this position at a concierge medical practice that was really everything I was looking for personally, because I knew the power of fitness and nutrition and exercise as medicine, but I was still very much someone that like I need a doctor. I need a physical therapist. I need a therapist. I'm going through a lot, and I need that kind of clinical help, traditional medical help. So this looks great. Like this looks like everything I'm looking for, and now I get to be the person working in it. So for years, I worked with patients, we call them, for personal training, biometric scanning, exercise physiology testing. We got people well, and we kept them well to get off medication, lose weight, a lot of things.
Do you coach nutrition as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what would you say, because our audience are interested in fitness and business and entrepreneurship, especially from a coaching perspective, because we're obviously at our studio here in Chino Hills with our headquarters at Fit Body Bootcamp, and really what we do is we offer coaching both from a fitness perspective, from a human movement perspective, and a nutrition perspective. What would you say is separates in your experience like a really strong coach from maybe not strong coach, and what are the types of learning experiences that do you need in order to really get your clients good results?
Yeah, I don't know if you can relate, but I remember being pretty green after getting my degree.
Totally.
I got a bachelor's in exercise science. I know all the things. I know the science. I think at that time I was just about to get my first extra certification, and I was so eager to just be like, here are all the things I know. Here's this muscle, this tendon, here's this movement, this
where it
plane.
connects, yeah.
Exactly. And I just remember kind of going through some struggles with some clients, with some patients. I'm like, why are we not where I want you to be? Why are you not where you want you to be? And I was so eager, green, maybe a little bit of ego to just show off what I knew, that I was missing the humanization. And
it's so important.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And it worked for a little bit, but for a lot of my clients, a lot of my patients, I was missing the mark because I was missing them. I wasn't fully present in those sessions to really help. Okay, Bryce, we've been working through the protocols, been working through the diet, the training, the programming, the macros, the everything. But what I'm hearing is that you lost your grandfather.
Yeah. How are you?
Exactly.
Like, where's your emotional state?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tapping into that mental and emotional aspect of the fitness and the nutrition was something that I finally kind of clicked with pretty quickly. Because it also felt more comfortable for me. Some trainers, some coaches, absolutely, like you're the hormone guy, you're the the CrossFit girl, you're this because you have something that really lights you up and you're an expert in, but you just get really excited about that aspect, so you can niche down, you can get really specific. But for me, it's like, cool, I got the bachelor's, I got the certification, I went back and got my master's for health promotion with a concentration in nutrition. I became the wellness director for this department, so I was not only coaching people, but I was running the entire East Coast and coaching other coaches. But the biggest thing for me that worked well with my patients and my team through all of that was when I actually like hung all of that up. And I had
that.
So like, actually I was gonna say, I had this like analogy. I had a first sergeant, a leader in one of my units in the military. And the best leadership I ever saw was when, at that time we wore our rank. It was like a Velcro thing right in the center. And so he's like the top of the food chain in this unit, in charge of hundreds and hundreds of people. And he would just rip it off, throw it on the table, and just look at you. And he'd be like, all right, it's no longer Sergeant Chewning and First Sergeant Vaughn.
Two people.
Exactly. It's Chase and Joel.
Yeah.
No, shout out Vaughn if you're out there, man. And he would just connect. He would throw it down, and we would have real, honest human conversation and connection. And we would get to the root of the problem. We would problem solve. We would delegate. We would do a lot of different things. And I kind of adopted that concept. And I would just be like, Bryce, I can coach you. I can do a lot of things, but I don't need to be that person right now. I need to be a person. I just need to share with you life experiences so that you can connect with me, that I can maybe come down off of this pedestal that you put me on, that I put myself on, and I can just connect with you so that you can feel seen, you can feel heard, you can feel understood, and ultimately you can feel loved. And from there, I would have the best breakthroughs with my clients.
Oh, this is so gold. This is so gold. And, for you readers out there, especially if you haven't been in fitness, the biggest, at least from my experience, and Chase, you're just basically double downing on this, is, a lot of times, especially coaches want to show off that knowledge or just so focused in on the result or the human movement or nutrition. And that's obviously all very important when you're trying to get, a client from body A to body B, whatever the case may be. But it's really, and what we teach is primarily we're not in the fitness industry. Primarily, we're not in the coaching. Yes, we do those things, but primarily we're in the people business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you lose sight of that, you lose sight of everything. So that just validates my thought, my belief in what we teach, and I'm really, grateful you shared that.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, that was what I got from my patients, my clients. I say patients, we're in the medical model. There was so much gratitude in that, because that immediately just like lowered so many walls that I didn't know were there, they didn't know were there, so we could really get to the root of the problem. Or sometimes there wasn't even a problem. It was just, okay, like, I trust you now. Like, I'm with you. Let's really collectively together work on getting me well.
Because if you think about it, if you're coaching them to a better life, better quality of life, you're leading them, right? And like the foundational principle of leadership is trust. If you don't have trust there, you're not going to be able to lead your client to success. So like ripping off the ranking, putting down the like relationship.
I wish I had one here,
Next time you're here.
Next time, I'll wear my uniform next time.
but it's an incredible point. I think just a really good takeaway for the audience. So. Awesome. Well, I definitely want to transition now to Ever4, but before we do, any other thoughts or visibility on your health coaching kind of like background as it pertains to our audience?
So I personally went through, looking for specifics on curriculum, I personally went through ACE, the American Council on Exercise, their certified health coaching program. Yep. I love it because it was a big emphasis on behavior change. And I know for other certifications, you can really get niche as to, strength and conditioning, nutrition, hormone, a lot of different aspects that you can niche down in on top of whatever maybe you have or whatever you don't have. Certain certifications and programs, require certain things. But for me, to kind of, to cap what we were just talking about, behavior change, I think, is ultimately what we're after for ourselves and definitely for our clients. Because if you can help them, if you can understand what habits they have and help them see the habits that they don't have that are going to be contributing to their success, like, that's really what we need to do. Not to keep beating a dead horse, but, nobody really cares if you can write the best program, if you can write the best macros, if you can do whatever.
A coach initially thinks that, but the reality of this perspective is your client doesn't.
Yeah, how are you going to help them integrate that?
Yep.
How are you going to understand the multifacetedness that is their life, that is a human experience. So you can navigate those obstacles before they even come and help them build sustainable habits, which are going to be a sustainable lifestyle. So that's what I loved about the ACE program, was a big emphasis on behavior change. And honestly, I really wish that was the core curriculum for all of my other trainings and education. I think if health and fitness professionals could start with what's going on up here and in here, that is going to be everything you need to write the best program for behavior change. And then you just sprinkle in, here's your workout, here's your nutrition, here are healthy habits, here's, more of this, less of that kind of thing. Start with behavior change, start with helping people connect the head and the heart, and you're going to have so much more adherence. Probably a lot less stress in your business too.
Dude, a lot more success,
yeah.
both for you, but also to your clients.
Absolutely.
And, man, that's so many awesome takeaways. And in my 10 years of experience in the business, I mean, if you could wrap it all up in like 5 minutes, I mean, that's really like the major.
Oh, good. I'm not alone then. good. I'm glad to hear it's not just my philosophy.
No, dude, it's awesome, man. So. All right, so you had that background, and now I want to transition. You're an incredible marketer, content creator, which is all very important, in running any business. So I want to talk about your podcast, Ever Forward Radio, and I had the opportunity and privilege to be on, which I'm super grateful for. You're an incredible host.
Thank you.
So can you share, with our audience, in the case that you haven't heard about Ever Forward, the mission, why you started, a little bit of context about the show?
So the show started, the content, everything started as a way to supplement my business. At that time, I was still working for somebody else. I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time. And I mean, people talk about LA traffic, but I still swear, D.C.'s worse.
I've heard that actually.
Because to go this far will take you as long as it took me to get from LA to here. Okay. It's the distance. It's dumb. And so I was stuck in traffic all the time. And this was about early 2015. And I think like most people then, somebody recommended a podcast, and I said, what the hell is a podcast? I have no idea what that is. Like, hey, it's that app that's already on your phone, that little purple thing. And so they recommended this health and fitness show. Like, Chase, you're into fitness. You like that stuff, right? So here's this guy. Shout out Sean Stevenson, the Model Health Show.
Oh, yeah.
Legend. And I was like hooked. I was like, you mean, this is live information? This isn't a seminar I need to go to. This isn't something I need to sign up and buy. It was free, real world, now information that helped me. But I would drive to work and I would immediately have something new to share with you, my patient, my client. Hey, I heard this new study. Hey, here's some new this, new that, whatever. I was better at my job the minute that I showed up. And I just became a sponge. And then so I was doing that for about a year, listening, got on the podcast buzz. And somebody made this comment that I've heard my entire life. And, I think once puberty hit, they're like, hey, you should do radio. You got a good radio voice.
You do got a good voice.
Thank you. Yeah. And my uncle even was in radio, and he's like, let's do radio. Like, it's a natural talent. And I had no interest, but for some reason, somebody said it that day and it clicked. I was like, what about a podcast? And so, oh yeah, of course. If I'm the one listening and getting so much, but now I can be the one doing it, imagine how much more I'll get out of that experience. And so I was like, screw it. Let me figure it out. I talked to my uncle who was in radio. He kind of walked me through some mic and setup and all that stuff. And I just started interviewing people. This is kind of around the time when like social media, fitness Instagrammers, fitness YouTubers were really kind
starting to pop in.
And becoming a real thing. People were actually doing it for a living. And my brother was one of those people. He had started a fitness YouTube channel. And so through him and through some other people, I kind of had access to a lot of these rising fitpreneurs. And so I began to interview them. And I began to reach out to
all specifically around fitness.
All like fitness, nutrition, mindset, kind of the three main pillars. Yep. And I started reaching out to authors, started reaching out to all these other people I was listening to on other shows. And I was just like, they're saying yes. This was 2015, 16, so it was kind of like early adoption a little bit with podcasts. So they're like, yeah, of course.
It had some sort of basis, but it wasn't like what it is now.
No, it took a few more years. And so, long story short, I started Ever Forward Radio. I launched it January 2017 as a way to supplement my professional life.
And were you still in DC at the time?
I was. I was still working full time. I was a health coach. I covered 2 offices in DC and had 9 total offices all up and down the East Coast, 8, 9 other coaches, 8, 9 other offices. So I did it the whole year. A lot of things happened that year with this company that I no longer felt in alignment with. I was overworked, undervalued. I'm sure a lot of people in your audience can relate.
Oh, yeah.
And so that little seed was planted of what if I did this, but over here for myself.
And like I'm meant for something more, I'm sure.
Oh, I was getting tugged. I just felt this pull on my heartstrings that Chase, like you could do all of this, but remove all the struggle. Well, we make our own struggle, our own stress as entrepreneurs, but it would all be for myself. And so I began to kind of develop. I began to really reach out to people that I was helping for free. I was giving advice and training and programming for free, and I began to actually charge. And I got a little bit of thing going with my in-person coaching. Created an app, launched online coaching, figured out how to monetize a podcast after about a year. And so at the end of that year, end of 17, I gave my notice, left the company, and transitioned. I went from just being health coach Chase for somebody else to coach Chase for myself, and really kind of doubled down on the podcast as well.
Yeah, man, good for you. So tell us about the growth and, kind of what the shows look like now and all that.
So it looks like now it's my full-time thing. I hung up the coach Chase, well, particularly like the health coach Chase had about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And to give credit to, I think, a lot of the work that you guys do, coaching is so important. Hiring people, having a mentor, just surrounding yourself with people that are just one step or even 100 steps beyond where you are was crucial in my entrepreneurial journey.
So important. And
it's funny, I hired a business coach, and he talked me out of scaling my coaching business. I got on the phone with him. It's this shout out Jason Phillips. I mean, he started with Bedros years ago.
I just had him on the show.
A
few weeks ago.
He's a homie. He was a friend. He was in my world for a couple of years, and I was at one of his events just to support. And I was hearing like this guy scaling, that girl scaling. This gym is growing. I was like, okay, cool. I want some of that. So I hired him, and then I shit you not, the first phone call, he said, "We're not doing that. All you've been talking about is what you're doing with the podcast." Mm-hmm. And so I paid him a good amount of money to not do what I hired him to do, but ultimately gave me the permission, which I think a lot of us need.
Oh, it's so crazy.
To dive. I just went all in on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I hung up the health coach stuff. I still do some coaching here and there, but personal development, kind of mentorship stuff now. And I just went all into the podcast. And so,
Before you do though, let's talk about giving yourself permission. Walk that through, because I've had to do that for myself. That's just a common kind of theme. So what does that look like to you?
It looks like hanging up my hat a little bit. It looked like coming to terms with an identity that I think is a lot of struggle points with coaching, with fitness professionals these days, because when you're feeling that pull, when you want to grow, a part of you kind of has to die. If you're going to pivot in your business, you're going to pivot in your offer. And I think, personally speaking at least, I was feeling some kind of way about letting that go. I was like, well, what do you mean, Jason? What do you mean, Chase? What do you mean I'm not going to be a health coach anymore? I got grad school debt.
Yeah.
I've got these certifications. This is what I built my platform, my entire world. I'm the health coach. But when you get really radically honest, and especially when you have somebody kind of mirror that back to you, a coach, a friend, a mentor, whoever, there's no denying it anymore. And I was like, you know what? I will be continually lying to myself if I try to make this work, or if I try to scale this beyond what I even want. So I got very crystal clear on what I wanted. I struggled with that identity loss and kind of buried that version of me and allowed this new version of me to kind of take center stage. And it was radical personal growth, radical personal development, so that my professional self could flourish as well.
Dude, thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. And that's so powerful, because I know our audience there is that there's someone there's going through the same thing.
It ain't easy.
No, but it's interesting. I never heard it framed part of it is giving yourself permission is having, part of you die. Oh, yeah. And I think that's why it's so hard, actually, because you have to come to terms and, accept, okay, this is no longer going to be the case. And that hurts, but now we got to move forward.
Yeah.
We got to move ever forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had to like take a little bit of my own medicine. Yeah.
So I want to spend a few more, moments on this, because like in any business, whether it's the fitness business or any, industry, marketing and content creation, especially in our world, is so important. Because so can you share just a little bit about like your journey as a content creator, some of the lessons that you've learned, and really the value in what you're doing?
I think I'm going to answer your question, but if I can, Bryce, I just want to skip to the end.
Fire.
Nothing I feel is more important. Nothing I feel has served me more in my content, my marketing, my business, my life, me as a human being, to just stop trying to do that old identity, stop trying to do whatever's trending, stop trying to do all these other things. What I'm trying to say is the thing that has served me the most, and I wish I would have picked up on this more years ago, especially starting off in my own business, focus on me. Focus on what lights me up. Focus on what my body needs, what my mind needs, what my trusted people around me need, my community, my clients, but particularly me. And it might sound a little, selfish, but if I can wake up every day and I can choose to design my day, choose how I want my life to look, how I want it to feel, and I act in alignment with that vision for myself, that's the most powerful thing that I've ever shared, I've ever marketed, I've ever posted about, I've ever done a content piece about, I've ever talked about, because that, I think, to bring it full circle, like that's the lifestyle that we all want. That those are the habits, those are the behaviors that we all want when we can choose our life of our design and feel our best, look our best. And so by doing that, by choosing me, and by choosing constantly being in pursuit of optimizing my mind, my body, my soul, my relationships, my business, that speaks volumes. And a particular version of that will show up on social media. A particular version of that, whatever I'm going through, will show up on a piece of content, and it resonates with the person listening, watching, experiencing it. Mm-hmm. And then you know what the best part is? It does all the marketing for me. They reach out to me. They ask me questions. Mm-hmm. It just works because it resonates with what they want for their life as well. And then it just sparks a conversation, or it sparks an offer. To this day, except for one thing, I had a podcast course that did like a traditional, like full-blown launch.
Okay.
I've never done a launch for my business. I've never, built up. I've never planned. I've never done from Thursday to Sunday, cart closes. I've never done a launch. All I've done is got much better and more consistent at being true to who I am, what I want, and then sharing that, the good, the bad, the ugly, my physical health, my mental health, my relationships, my business. That speaks volumes. That does all the marketing I could ever hope to do.
Yeah, and that authenticity is really what tracks people to your message, without a shadow of a doubt.
That's what they tell me, at least. And plus, it's also great too on like the personal side, because then I get that feedback, and I'm like, okay, cool. Not only is this working for my business, but me, Chase, as a human being, I'm very in alignment. I love my life, and like I can act out of joy and pay the bills.
Dude, man, love it. Last question around Ever Forward in terms of the podcast. You talked about monetization. How have you done that? And maybe some strategies to share with our audience.
Just ask. Like, seriously, if you have any platform whatsoever, I don't care if you've got 1 follower or 1 million. That's all I did. So I was listening to another podcast. I heard this product being advertised. I was like, wait a minute. I use that. They're advertising on a podcast. What if I just asked them? I went to the website. I found a contact. I emailed them, said, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I'm about. Here's my message. Here's my platform. Do you want to give me money? Do you want to, would you be interested in sponsoring me?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah. And I was like, oh shit, that's all you have to do. So then I got better at it, pitching and stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, this day and age, again, if you have 1 follower or 1 million, you are so unique. And if you can put yourself on the path to showing up that unique, authentic self every day, that is what people want. That is what they need. Looking for marketing, looking for affiliates, looking for sponsors. Just literally ask. And this is what I talk about a lot, speaking of my podcast course and a lot of other things that I recommend for other people in the social media and podcasting space, is just at home, just literally look around. I mean, I can see so many different products and stuff here that I like that. I like a similar thing. I could use this. I could talk about that. I already have been talking about these things. Create the content, get on their radar, and just ask. Odds are, most brands, most everything, if you just go to their website, you can find an email. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you can probably even find an affiliate sign up right away. So it's out there. We're just not looking.
Dude, Love it. All right, my friend, I want to transition. You've been so gracious with your time, but to our lightning round, so that way we can still extract some knowledge bombs from you. Does that work?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so we've talked about all the success and the accolades. Let's talk about like a low life moment for a second. What would be like a low life moment or your lowest entrepreneur moment? So that way we can kind of uncover that kimono, if you will, and you get some good lessons from there.
There was a moment. There was like a month when I first moved from DC to Southern California. My wife and I started off down in Orange County first. And long story short, I was trying to sell my coaching, and I first created my own system, my type form, my application. And there was one thing that I overlooked that didn't work. And so like basically I had this offer, nobody, crickets. And I had no money. Like I was so unsure about how I was going to pay anything that month. This was year 2 of my business, going into year 2, that I was just looking around, what could I sell? I had this really nice designer weekender bag that I literally eyed and saved for like 3 years, and I put it up for sale. My wife talked me out of it. I'm thankful for her for that. I still got it, but I fixed the system and just pivoted pretty quickly. But I realized that like I need to have much more attention to detail, so that I don't, let all these people down again. And there's just this one little thing in my system that was just failing me. Well, I failed it.
Thank you for sharing, my friend. What would you say is a unique value bomb that most entrepreneurs, business owners should know, but they probably don't, and probably something you learned along the way?
Ask for help and ask sooner. And that could be help with a problem you're having, a success. Like share your successes and your failures in the aspect of getting help for them more quickly.
Love it. Passion. You're a passionate guy. Me too. Love this. Our audience. What would you say is one of your big sources of passion today, and why?
Life. I mean, seriously. I wake up every day. We wake up every day in a beautiful place here in the world. It's so amazing to me to see what is possible. And now I'm in year 5 of my entrepreneur journey. And so, I'm sure you can speak even more volumes. Once you begin to do things for yourself and you get traction and you show and prove to yourself and honor your word to yourself that you can accomplish things, and then bigger things happen, it's the most addictive thing in the world.
Honor your word to yourself. I feel like that is where self-confidence is arrived.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love that. Love that takeaway. Next up, what would you say, unpacking your incredible life experience from the military, being a health coach, now to be a content creator, a podcaster, what would you say, Chase, is your zone of genius?
I would probably answer this question even just a few weeks ago. I would say connection. Beyond what I do on the podcast and social media, I really flourish in connecting people. But I've learned that it's more than that. So I would say it's not connection, it's expansion. Because when I can connect your story to somebody else's, when I can get connected with a new person through the podcast or social media, it expands my life, it expands my mentality, my outlook. And in business, it expands a lot of opportunities. So connection leads to expansion. So I'm in the business, I'm in the passion of expansion.
Love it. Love it. And you're a man of your word. I mean, just for our audience here this morning, you shot me like 4 different contacts of like, hey, would love to get on your show. So love the fact that you walk your talk.
It's really just always striving to keep others in mind. So whatever works well for me, whatever yields success for me, being mindful enough of other people that this might also serve.
Dude, love it. Interesting question. What scares you?
Papa John's, losing my pizza. I honestly don't have a fear. And that sounds weird to say. People might not believe me, but I believe that my life has presented me with enough fears, with enough opportunities for literal death to happen to me and around me, that I have developed a level of trust. In the military, I trust everything and everyone. And so there's an experience, there's a tool, there's somebody. Like I know they have my back, it has my back, I have theirs. And, I've been in enough situations, losing other people, in situations where I should have died, that I've hung my hat on fear a while ago. So I'm in it. I have no fear. I'm in like a full surrender mode in life.
Heck yeah, man. Touched wood on that, in terms of the deaths. But
Thank you.
all right, my friend. Next question, Chase. You are in the business and have been for a long time of giving great coaching advice. What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you have received, and why?
To kind of go back to what I was talking about with when I made that pivot in my business to really kind of leave coaching and to go into what my biggest passion was. It's, again, permission, but it's also, it's okay to pursue a passion. If my coach, if my friend at that time had not presented to me, Chase, this is what you are so clearly most excited about in life. I don't think coaches, I don't think entrepreneurs, I don't think people give ourselves enough permission to pursue a passion, because it doesn't fit a mold. It doesn't fit what we went to school for. It doesn't fit what our parents want us to do. So give yourself permission to pursue a passion, because I think, especially now, 2022 and beyond, you can make a living out of a passion.
Yes.
Passion and an iPhone.
Let's go.
And good Wi-Fi, world is your oyster.
Oh man, love it. Speaking of Wi-Fi and connected, and personal growth, which is a huge, thing we both share in common. Give me a habit that you've picked up over the years that's been instrumental in your success.
Prioritizing, more prioritizing of my sleep. Sleep, when I have shifted that to be kind of the pinnacle of my wellness hierarchy, every one of my other habits have gotten better. I've developed new ones. I've let old ones go. So my habits that serve my sleep health in terms of evening ritual, morning ritual, the best thing ever in the world. Yeah.
Dude, could not agree with you more. And what I hate sometimes, especially guys and macho, like, oh, sleep, so I'll do that when I'm dead. That is so much BS. And it's something I prioritize as well.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be able to function at, the high caliber without it.
I bought into that go-getter, hype mentality, grind culture a few years ago. I was the guy setting my alarm, getting up at 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m., and then I was so damn tired. I was unmotivated. Everything suffered. So again, I sought a life out of my passion, what my body, my mind, my business needed, and just, sleep is it.
Love it, man.
Love sleep, yeah.
Love it. Book recommendation.
Ooh, I honestly think every human being, I'm going to cheat, I'm going to say 3, but it's kind of a series, okay?
Fire away.
My favorite living author is Ryan Holiday.
Oh, dude.
Obstacle is the way, ego is the enemy, and stillness is the key. I would probably go in order of ego is the enemy, obstacle is the way, stillness is the key. It's a pretty quick, short
I
read.
always put obstacle first, but why ego first?
Well, because that book blew my mind. I would never say, I didn't think I was an egotistical person, but of course that's the ego talking, right?
Yeah.
Until I read that book, Bryce, I would put that book down, I would walk away, and I'm an egotistical asshole.
Yeah.
I had no idea how, when, and where ego was showing up so much in my life that I felt like once I got a better grasp on ego and how to live with it instead of it kind of taking control so often, I had a better perspective of how to problem solve and look at obstacles. Because not only could I, through obstacles the way, could I understand to appreciate the gift that obstacles are, but I could more quickly eliminate myself out of the equation.
Dude. Gold, my friend.
Ego, obstacle, stillness.
Yeah, Holiday is incredible. So, all right, my friend, dude, this has been awesome. We've gotten so much value, and our audience has too. Last question to leave them with value. What would you say for our audience who are interested in fitness and business and entrepreneurship, personal growth, to be better, a piece of parting wisdom that will allow them to accomplish all those things?
Share everything. And I don't just mean share everything online, share with social media, share with your friends, your mentors, your family. Personally speaking, the more that I tried over the years to bottle up pain and suffering and what was working, what wasn't, and just anything and everything that I wasn't sharing, even to start with myself, the things that I wasn't comfortable, that I didn't feel confident enough, that I was scared to say out loud to myself, I was scared to write in a journal. Share everything. That will open up things in your life that you have no idea are even possible. You will become a better communicator. You will understand how to interpret the feelings and thoughts in your own mind, how to share that with other people. And then again, to bring it all the way back, sharing that literally with other people in your business, on social media, that's the connection, that's the resonance that your clients, your future clients need to hear from you. So start sharing with yourself. Grow that to your trusted circle, then share with the world, because that empowers so many other people to do the same thing. And for me personally, I think I think we all could use a little bit more of that.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that, dude. Really appreciate you. Before we wrap today, where can our audience stay in touch with you at?
So yeah, if I'm not podcasting, I'm Instagramming basically. My show, Everforward Radio, we put out 2 episodes a week. Anywhere and everywhere you listen to podcasts. And after that, it's just Instagram at Chase_Chewning. There we go.
Love it, man. Well, before we wrap, I just want to acknowledge you, my friend. Dude, it's been awesome, and we're looking forward to this. From your podcast, the way you create content, the way you connect people, the way you show up from a positive intensity and authenticity.
Positive intensity, I like that.
Which, I like to think I have some as well.
Absolutely.
But your authenticity is really what's memorable. And I want to thank you for being on the show, and thank you for our audience here.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, my friends. Well, I know you got a ton of value. Assuming you did, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and an awesome review on iTunes. That way you can keep producing this content for you for free. Until next episode, and thanks again, my friend.
Appreciate you, Bryce.